Welcome to Tropical Marine Centre.
From our head office in London, we supply shops all around the world with the best livestock and products in the aquarium trade. Here in London, this is our main fish house, our largest fish house. We deal with about 1,800 species of fish and corals and invertebrates. We have quite a big focus on both wild-caught fish, but also captive-bred fish. Customers come here every single week and they hand-select items. You can see around the customers, they go around the fish house, they feed every single fish. There's a lot of attention to detail, and they ensure that they get the best quality fish for their own customers. The idea is to also, allow a place for people to come in and discuss ideas about their business and develop their own business. That's what really helps us to grow as an industry. On a normal day, we'll have around 650 species. So the fish house churns quite rapidly throughout the month. So during a whole month, we'll have between 600 900 species, depending on seasons and what shipments we're getting in. We do a lot of shipments each week, between 18 to 25 shipments each week at different times of the week, different times of the day. I mean, it's always moving fish in and out, fish and invertebrates, corals, and all that. In this fish house, we've got dedicated areas for cultured items. With corals, you can get sexually reproduced corals or asexually with fragging, which is the most common area. We do our own fragging and buy from local breeders, but we also now started working with people breeding corals sexually. So they spawn the corals. So this is now coming from Australia, which is a great initiative. Blastomuses, scalimias, euphyllias, and it's a great step forward in the coral culture side of things, because it's not just about fragging and what they call a chop shop farm. It's about taking the next step into making the hobby a bit more sustainable. At TMC, we're quite focused on animal welfare. This is quite important to us, and one of the aspects is to be able to provide an environment for all the species that we cater for and that we're responsible for in a hygienic way. So having all the tanks clean all the time is incredibly important for us. We have a team of specialized individuals who, for many years, they stay with us and that's all they do. They feed all day and they clean tanks and they make sure the fish have a 5-star experience through our care. Well, we haven't really announced it yet, but we are working on a new sustainable method of collecting, which is called ranched fish. So we basically collect post-larvae fish. The moment the larvae come back and settle in the reef, we grow them as post-larvae into juveniles, and then we keep them until they are ready for sale for a couple of months. So since we've started this project, we've managed to do about 43 species of fish from 2 different locations around the world, which is quite interesting. And I'm incredibly excited to be able to show the amount of fish and the diversity that you can get with this technology. It's incredibly sustainable. Personally, I would feel it's a really great step towards starting to still benefit people at source, which is incredibly important for us. So these people that are now collecting wild fish, if they, start looking at different ways to do that in a more sustainable manner, it really, resonates with us as a business. When we got these fish, they were maybe 5 times smaller than this, and we've been growing them for the past 2 months, I would say. So you get incredible amount of, different types of damsels. The reason there are so many damsels is because when you're in the ocean, 90% of what you see is damsels. So when you're collecting in this way, in which you don't really know what species you're taking, you're going to get a lot of damsels. But the idea is then to start developing protocols to try and identify not only the species that are interesting for the marine hobby, but also looking at other species that may be interesting to repopulate reefs. So one of the interesting aspects of this is that when we collect the fish, we collect, let's say, 1,000 fish. Only about 100 are interesting for the hobby. What do we do with the rest? So we still grow them at source with the suppliers, and then we work with conservation groups to repopulate reefs in various projects. So if someone has built a runway on an airport, or someone's built a new hotel and that damaged the reef in that location, we'll just go in and say, okay, here's 10,000 fish. My goal is to get to a point that we say, okay, for every fish we bring to the industry, we put 2 back in.
How many liters you have got in the whole system that we can measure?
I don't know. It's a good question, actually. It'll be on the couple 100,000 liters on fish and inverts if you count them together. We're quite a unique business in that sense because we've got various facilities. So we don't just focus on bringing the fish into one location. We've got this location in London. We've got a location in Manchester. We've got a location in Lisbon for the European market. And the idea there is to be close to the shops so that they can build their business on us as a business. So they can literally come in and have the shopping experience to visit TMC. One of the things that makes us different is we only operate wholesale. What that means is that we only work with the trade. We don't really, on a normal day-to-day basis, have end users, hobbyists coming to see us. If you do want a fish like the ones we have on our stock list that you can see on our website, they're available, then what I would suggest is that you go to the Find a Dealer on the website, and you can press that and see how many dealers around you and what they've bought in the last 30 days from us, and find the species you need. If you want a particular species, you can chat with us also online. So you can go to the chat bot on our website, and there'll be 12 people always listening to that communication on a 24/7 basis.
So the room that we're in right now is the drip acclimation room. Now, although we focus on captive breeding fish, we also are bringing in wild caught fish sustainably. Once they hit our facility here, we make sure that the drip acclimation process is as long as it needs to be to take care of that fish.
UV is clarifying and sterilizing the water before it reaches the animals. So the animals come stressed from all around the world. Their immune system is down. So putting them in an environment that's as sterile as possible is important so that they can have time to recover whilst we feed them and whilst we improve their immune system before we send them to the shops. It's a bit like when we travel around the world, we get a cold. You've got a cold at the moment.
Yeah.
So the fish, same exact thing happens. So they travel, their immune system goes down, they're stressed, put in a stressed environment, and it's our responsibility to then not expose them to things that they don't need to be exposed. And then during the time they're with us, we feed 8 to 12 times a day, which makes them immune system go back up again. This facility has been designed to cater for fish from all around the world. So we need to have a very strict control on biological filtration, namely ultraviolet sterilization. So every single tank receives water that has just been zapped with ultraviolet, which ensures that each tank is biologically independent to the next. So for that, we have all the filtration on top of each room, and even outside the fish house, it's embraced by UVs, which then feed the water into each area of the main fish house. So here at TMC, we've got obviously a plant room with all the pumps. It's very noisy in there. We've made a big effort this year to reduce our energy consumption. Energy bills have been going through the roof. Everyone knows that. But for us, it was a matter of survival. We have now managed to reduce our energy by more than 50%. That is related to different motors, different pumps, different lighting, using inverters. So there's been a big effort in advancing our infrastructure to reduce our energy consumption in very different ways. Here is our filtration room. We've got all the biological filtration in one place. We've got 2 large reservoirs, one for inverts, one for fish. Here we do ammonia to nitrites, nitrites to nitrates with fluid beds and skimming. Very powerful skimming. We also use tropic marine salt from Germany. We've been using this salt for almost 50 years. It's the only salt we use in the facility. So we can go through a pallet of these in each facility each week.
What was the most extreme species you sold this year to a customer?
I would say it's probably one of the koi tangs. We had quite a rare koi tang which came from the Indian Ocean. I'd never seen one. It was beautiful. I mean, it was stunning. It stayed with us for a couple of weeks before it had to stop feeding. So fish usually stay with us until they are completely settled and rested. And everyone was coming up here to see it, so because it was very unique.
Here we're in our production warehouse where we build all of our UV sterilizers and clarifiers for pond and also on a commercial level as well. These are all being built at the moment and going through to Europe, but we do distribute all of our products all throughout the world.
So here you see our production experts. They test every single product that they assemble so that the customer doesn't really have to. So it's an important process for us in terms of quality control so that there's no issues. We've been doing these for decades now with a lot of confidence in the marketplace.
So we also have another element of our business called Biosystems, and this aspect of the business looks after the commercial customers from public aquariums to agriculture, aquaculture and also animal farming. We create lighting, also control panels for the lighting and also the big filtration systems that you can see behind me as well for all different aspects of the commercial side of the business.
Well, another side of Biosystems is the support they gave not only TMC, but also a lot of companies around the world in reef efficiency projects. So with their experience in motor efficiency and lighting efficiency, we managed to actually reduce more than 50% the energy consumption in TMC. But we're now working as well with lots of shops around the world and businesses on aquaculture and to reduce their energy consumption. Lighting is quite an important aspect of Biosystems. We started with lighting back in 2007. We were one of the first companies in the world to start with LEDs for corals. That gave us the technology and the understanding of how to utilize different spectra for different animals. And we've taken that a few further steps into the future, and we can now cater specific lighting for birds, for mammals, for animal farming and pigs, chicken, poultry, which then are so specific that they have an impact in the efficiency of grow outs and animal welfare. So in this room, we display all our products. We deal with and manufacture more than 3,500 different products that range from little nano tanks to ultraviolet lights, skimmers, tanks, decoration, sand, gravel, RO units, anything you can think of that fits in an aquarium trade, both marine and freshwater. We are typically involved. We have to always remind ourselves that it comes down to fish first, second and third. There's no other way to do it. It's all about animal welfare. It's about inspiring synergy between people and nature. You can see that on the quality of our livestock, the quality of our products, and the way we deal with our suppliers and customers. That's it.